Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Way to start the Monday, man. Talk about an interesting start to it. Bitcoin jumps out of the gate pretty much in the morning, and then we're trying to figure out what the heck's happening. So it was a false start to the morning with news coming out of on Twitter about possibly iShares ETF getting approved. That story later on got recanted, and so but Bitcoin still held, so that's pretty good news there. Also, we have to talk about, obviously, Stronghold providing their production update along with Sphere 3D. And then we also have to take a look at what happened last week with Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. We'll get through this all as always. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research and invest in following coins and companies in full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button. Helps out tremendously, along with subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Helps me out. And let's take a look at what happened with Bitcoin today, because the miners actually did really good for the most part today. So here's what we got. Bitcoin obviously had a huge candle today. It was up, excuse me, it was up almost like 8% on the day, 9% towards the peak. It did hit a high of 30,000, which obviously once it hit that, it came crashing down, but it did recover here quite nicely here. It's still over, well, it finished the day up approximately 4.91% on the day. It closed at 28,520, which was good. And right now we're kind of down a little bit. We're down approximately 0.91% roughly or so. We're right now at, what are we at, 28,606, something like that. Yeah, nope, sorry, 28,279, right around there. Okay, so we'll see how this continues going forward, but it looks like, obviously, there's a lot of pent-up demand for Bitcoin to get the ETF, spot ETF especially. But here's what happened, basically. So what we have here is Cointelegraph, their staff, by mistake, went live with basically a post on X, which is Twitter. So they wanted to apologize for it, but you can read the whole article here. If you just go to Cointelegraph right now, you'll find the article there. A couple things I just wanted to point out to you guys. It's actually interesting to read how they actually went through the whole process. So I would highly recommend you guys read that. But nonetheless, always make sure you have multiple sources confirming a story before jumping in, right? However, today we had a lot of people jumping into Bitcoin, which was good, and it actually held, which was great. But I'm afraid we might be coming back down in the coming days here after everything kind of cools off a little bit. Okay, but here's a story from Cointelegraph apologizing. So earlier today, during routine coverage, Cointelegraph's social media team posted a message on X without prior editorial approval, stating that the United States Securities and Exchange Commission had approved BlackRock's iShares Spot Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund, or ETF. This was false, the result of misinformation. The news lead originated from an unconfirmed screenshot posted by an X user who claimed it was from the Bloomberg terminal. Okay. Cointelegraph did not ultimately publish an article with this incorrect information, but we deeply regret posting this in error on X and the impact it has caused. An internal investigation revealed that our standard procedures for posting breaking news on social media, wherein sources are required to be verified before posting to social media, was not followed. All right. So there's a mistake that happened. And you can kind of go through it here. So it's just them going back and forth between that source and other people trying to figure out if this is approved or not. And this is, I guess, Bazinga's news desk. They had, excuse me, SEC approves iShares Bitcoin Spot ETF. So there's a lot that was going on during the day, but nonetheless, like I said, Bitcoin actually ended up for the day. But I still think we might be coming back down as things kind of cool off a little bit. We're kind of seeing that down a little bit today on Bitcoin. So this is really what happened here. There was obviously a lot of hope for it, especially since Gary Gensler did not go after the court. He had until Friday, until midnight, I think, to file a countersuit or whatever the heck they call it, to see if he can reverse the decision by the judges that originally said that what was it? Was it Venek? I can't remember which one it was now. There's just so many of them. But whoever won the court case against the SEC for the Spot Bitcoin ETF instead of the Spot Bitcoin Futures ETF, things like that. So that was because of that, and maybe there was some hope that possibly Gensler has approved at least one Spot Bitcoin ETF today, but that didn't happen. Okay, so that was unfortunate, but like we saw, we are up on the day still. We are trading above the 200 weekly line, which is the red line here, which is pretty good, and we're kind of bouncing off of that right now, which is also pretty good. We've also kind of hit our resistance here at 20,600. Obviously, we blew past it here this morning, but then when we came back down, we kind of came close to it right here, and we've seen that before over here as well, acting as a resistance here. So we'll see. I mean, we've had a couple times where Bitcoin price went up to the 200 weekly moving average and then fell back down. We may see the same thing happen again here because, well, unless we really do get news from the SEC that they are approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, we're likely to come back down in price. Okay, but nonetheless, the miners had a really good day today. Annie was up quite a bit here, 10.82%. Bitfarms was up almost 12%. GreenSpark was over 12%. Cypher was up 10% also. DMG was up 22%. Greenwich was up 12%. Marathon, surprisingly, was only up 5%. Same thing with Riot, was only up almost 3% there. Those were pretty low. Wolf was up 10%. So some miners did better than others, but it's good. But we still may be coming down. All right. Let's get into the stories that we do have here on the miners here really quick. We'll cover Sphere 3D first, and we'll get into Stronghold. And then we'll look at the Bitcoin price action for last week against the miners as well. And we'll call it a day. Okay, so Sphere 3D provides September 2023 production updates. This is going to be pretty quick. They mined 63.6 Bitcoin. Month-end operating hash rate was 1.3. Uptime was 66% due to curtailments from higher temperatures at several sites. So they did curtail. They have 16.5 Bitcoins in holdings right now. And let me see, they're still obviously battling Core Scientific in court. They're trying to get the money, I guess, from that. And then the Gryphon update on September 6th, Sphere 3D terminated effective immediately the master service agreement between Sphere and Gryphon Digital Mining Inc., dated August 10th, 2021, so basically 2 years ago. And that's just basically with, they had an agreement that Gryphon would basically manage the ASICs for them. I guess they're trying to cut costs a little bit here. They're going to try doing it themselves. We'll see how well they are able to do that. But yeah, just wanted to point that out to you guys on this one. Let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them, and we'll call it a day here. And I have not updated yet the pricing here on these guys from today. Just was hectic. This whole weekend was hectic, so trying to catch up here a little bit. But shares outstanding for Spheres right now, 11.9 million. Their market cap is at 13.8 million. Stock price as of Friday, this would be, it was $1.16. It was up a little bit more today. And then the performance here over the last 12 weeks hasn't been too bad. They're only down 19% from 12 weeks ago. They're up 34% from 8 weeks ago. They're up 45% from 4 weeks ago, and they're up 52% from a week ago. So they are definitely doing pretty good here in the last couple weeks. And that may be just some bottom fishing here from some investors here looking to get possibly a good bounce going forward. Okay, current hash rate 1.3 exahash right now. BTC Huddle 16.5. That's where we're at. You can see that the BTC production has been coming down ever since May. May was their best month, it looks like right now, but it is starting to increase a little bit here. We'll see if that continues, if they can continue to curtail less as the winter months come in. You get the month-over-month difference here. BTC Huddle has come down, but it is coming back up a little bit. Bitcoin's per exahash efficiency, I have them at 48.92. It did improve from August, which is good. This is how much the Bitcoin they've been selling. Hash rate is now at 1.3, so we've had that for the last 2 months. And then Bitcoin mined revenue has been coming down, but it has increased in September as well, which is kind of good. They definitely need to grow more before the halving event. They're going to be in trouble as well. Hash rate difference from month to month. BTC sold value basically on the average price of Bitcoin each month. And then their quarterly revenue estimated is going to be about 5.08 million for the month, or for the Q3 numbers. That's a little bit better than what it was in Q2, but it's possibly going to start dropping back down below that unless Bitcoin starts going back up in value. Okay, as far as institutions and analyst ratings are concerned, we still have the same 21 institutions. Shares did decrease a little bit here to 123,150, down to 1.03% of the company owned by institutions. Analyst ratings, 0 ratings across the board with 0 targets right now for them as they have it. And then when we look at the numbers here for them, what do we have them running at? We have them running at about 21.67 days during the month here, which is quite a bit of curtailing here, considering that we were in September at that point. I mean, it was getting a little bit cooler, but still hot in some places. But that's what we have right now. And based on this information, and when we look at the last 4 quarters or 3 quarters in the current quarter that we just finished in September, I have them between P of $2.79 to $4.18. They are undervalued, but there's a reason for it, right? Their growth has been pretty good so far this year, but it's starting to cool off a little bit as well. And then if we look at their numbers going forward, $3.16 to $4.75, and that's based on the September numbers for revenue times the 6 months before the halving event at 100%, and then the 50% for the 6 months following that. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. But they are obviously undervalued for a reason, and the reason is, let's see here. Right here, so not a lot of assets, 4.68 million in assets. They have almost double that in current liabilities. So that's part of the reason there for that. Okay, and they definitely need to grow more going forward. Plus the battles that they have with Core. I think they were also battling somebody else also in court. So there's just a lot of unknowns there, how things are going to work out with them as well. All right, let me know what you guys think, and let's get into the next one. So the next one's going to be on Stronghold. This should also be pretty quick. Stronghold announces Bitcoin mining update and Frontier managed services agreement. So they're partnering with Frontier. And here's what we have. Bitcoin mining update. Stronghold mined 196 Bitcoin in September and generated approximately 0.2 million, 200,000 in energy revenue, which represents the equivalent of approximately 7 additional Bitcoin based on the average Bitcoin price during the month of September. The company experienced an unplanned outage during September 2023 at its Scrubgrass power plant that affected both its plant operations and data center operations. The company elected to extend the outage on the Scrubgrass plant due to low power prices in an effort to conduct additional maintenance. And then hash rate finished for the month at approximately 3.5 exahash. As the outage at the Scrubgrass plant continues, PMJ recently requested the company reduce its imports to 10 to 20 megawatts for an estimated 10 days period starting on October 11th in order to perform transmission line work in the area. So that might obviously affect them a little bit there as well. And then Stronghold intends to cooperate with the PMJ import directive. Stronghold plans to start the Scrubgrass plant imminently in order to resume full data center output while minimizing the impact of the PJM directive. Okay. And then here's obviously the Frontier managed service agreement. You guys can read that over. They were using them as a consultant service for a while, but now they're basically handing the reins of managing the ASICs over to them to see if they can maybe do some updates to the machines, increase the hash rate, efficiencies, things like that going forward. So that'll be interesting to see how that actually manages for them going forward. And obviously they're trying to get to 4 exahash as their target here. All right, let's take a look at Stronghold really quick here as well. Stronghold is right there. So Stronghold, based on the numbers from Friday here, shares outstanding was about 7.4 million. Market cap was about 30 million right now. Stock price was $4 and something. Obviously went up quite a bit today. And we'll see if that lasts. We'll get this updated later on here. Performance-wise, for the last 12 weeks has been pretty bad. Down 54% from 12 weeks ago, down 26 from 8 weeks ago, down 2.9 from 4 weeks ago, and they were down 9.31 from last week. Current hash rate, I'm at 4.04. They said they're at 3.5 at the end of the month. That's what they ended at. We'll take a look at the numbers down below here in a little bit. Bitcoin HODL is at 50. They didn't report anything. That's kind of what I'm guessing that they're still at. And then you can see that the production here, ever since we started tracking them back in April again, has been up and down a little bit here. Looks like June was their best month, 225 Bitcoin at that point. Month over month difference here as well. BTC HODL doesn't look like they HODL anything. They keep selling it because they don't report on Bitcoin HODL at all. And then BTC per exahash efficiency has been coming down as well for them, down towards the lower middle end, I guess you could say, of all the miners here. And then Bitcoin sold each month. That's what we have. Hash rate, I'm at 4 exahash already. They reported 3.4 here in obviously July. They were down a little bit in August because of the Scrubgrass plant and everything else. So they're using basically the average price or the average exahash that they have for the month at 3.5. I'm at actually 4. BTC mine revenue has been coming down as well here. Reached a peak in June, 6.25 million, and has been coming down, which isn't good, right? Hash rate difference month over month. BTC sold value, you can take a look at that. Current quarter estimates, these are just estimates that ended in September. I'm at 13.7. That's going to be pretty close to where they were in Q2 right now. And then when we look at the numbers down below here, we covered all these metrics here when they do the quarterly results. And I just have this in here for obviously the Patreon members, so they could get a quick glance at all the information. Institutions did decrease here to 46 from 55. However, shares increased to 370,650, and percentage owned also increased to 4.68 from 4.64. We still have 1 strong buy rating, 1 buy rating, 1 hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price targets are still $23.50 for the high, $17.17 for the average, and $8 for the low. And then here's what we had the miners running here. It looks like for approximately 21 days out of the month here. Okay, so that's why the revenue is down because of that. That didn't help them out at all. Okay, now going back to my estimates here, I have in between $19 and basically $28, $29. It's kind of a little bit higher than what the analysts have them, but there's obviously some reasons for this, and the reasons for this are, well, the debt, the spending, all that stuff. There's a reason for where they are right now, Even if we look forward to the next 12 months, the 6 months before they're having it at 100%, 6 months after 50% of September's revenue, we still have them at $15.68 to $23.52. But really, it's the debt here that's an issue, right? Assets is only 17.47 million at the end of Q2, and the debt was at total current liabilities was 29.21 million. So definitely upside down there on that one. And then when we also look at their numbers down below, which I always point out to you guys, this is the reason why that they are currently undervalued, because there's always a reason for it, right? Even though you look at the numbers here, excuse me, it should be much higher valued. But when you look at the revenue here that they had, total operating revenue for Q2 was 18.2 million. Operating expenses was 19 million. If you just take a look at energy or look at cryptocurrency mining here, 13.7 million was obviously the majority of it. Hosting was also part of it here as well. Combine those two, you're over like 90% on the revenue side of things. But if you look at just fuel, operating and maintenance, you're already at, what is that, 14, 15. And then general administrative, you're at 25 million alone on that. That's huge, right? 25 million and you only had 18 million in revenue. You're obviously going to be losing cash, or you're going to be diluting, or whatever it is. So that's not a good place to be in at. All right, but let me know what you guys think. Obviously, this one is, I would say, high risk, could be high reward if Bitcoin goes up in value, obviously, and they can actually do really well as far as mining is concerned. They might be able to maybe get out of this mess that they're in, but it's definitely a big if there. But other than that, I keep saying this all the time in the videos, especially on Stronghold, is they have to get rid of some of the, one is the debt, but the other part of it is the spending. It's just a lot. I don't know if they can become even more lean going into the halving event or not, but they definitely need to do something about that to get the general administrative way down, because it's way up there, unfortunately. Okay, but yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. And then let's take a look at the weekly here, which is how the miners did over the last week here against the Bitcoin. First chart is obviously how far the miners are from their 52-week lows, and then the red bars are how far away the miners are from their 52-week highs. Okay, so as still core is still way up there from where it was obviously earlier this year, followed by Cypher, BitDigital, DigiHost, Iris, Argo, Riot, Bitfarms, Marathon, Hot 8, Hive, CleanSpark, TerraWolf, DMG, Sphere have done better than Bitcoin. Some of the ones towards the right here have done a little bit not as good as we would expect the miners to do, but they were still up better. And then Bitcoin was up 72% so far this month at the end of Friday of last week. And then Mawson is down below that, 46%, along with BitDeer is only up 28%. So they're lagging the performance of Bitcoin as it is. And you can see obviously how they have performed from their 52-week highs. They're still quite a ways away, while Bitcoin's only 15% away from that right now. If we look at the weekly performance here, and we go to the 1 week chart, we can see that Bitcoin is actually only down 3.88% from last week it was. And then DigiHost was only down 2.83. Argo was up 0.98, and Sphere 3D was actually up 55%. So it's had a pretty good run here recently. BitDeer obviously did the worst here at down 42%, followed by Core down 21%, and then Hut down 15.5% on last week. If we look at the 8 weeks as well, or the 4 weeks, let's do that really quick, do that descending. We can see Bitcoin is right now up, or it was up, it's up even more now. It was up 1% last week. From 4 weeks ago, DigiHost was up 15%, Sphere was up 45%, and then BitDeer is down 62% from there, so definitely not good there. TerraWolf and Core, and the rest you guys can see as well. Going to the 8 weeks here, we'll do that really quick. Where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin's up 3.13% from 8 weeks ago. DigiHost is up 5%, Mawson's up 26%, Sphere is up 34%, BitDeer is down 67%, TerraWolf is down 46%, Iris is down 27% from there, and then if we look at 12 weeks ago as well, we can see here that Bitcoin is actually only down 8% from 12 weeks ago. Miners that have maybe done not quite as bad are Sphere, obviously Argo, and then Cypher, followed by CleanSpark, and then everybody else here is at 45 or higher percent a decrease. TerraWolf leading the pack at 70% down, followed by Mawson, BitDeer, Marathon, Iris as well. So those have all gotten beaten down quite tremendously here. Now when we look at the actual weekly chart here, we can see that we're getting a lot of red here in the last 12, 13 weeks or so. And maybe this is just right before, maybe we're getting close to the bottom here, possibly. We had a nice pop today in Bitcoin, but that was based on false news. Once we do get the good news that we're hoping for with the spot Bitcoin ETF, I think that's going to definitely help rocket things up and get us going for the next bull run possibly. It would be nice if we get the spot Bitcoin ETF a couple weeks before the halving event actually happens. I think that would be a sweet time to do it. You got the halving event, supply crunch happening. You got the spot Bitcoin ETF going in live as well. That's going to pull a lot of demand on Bitcoin and definitely could help the Bitcoin price go up in value quite nicely. But as always, you guys got to do your own research on that stuff as well, on everything. So, all right, we'll leave it at that. As always, the spreadsheet's available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. We do also have a private Discord channel there that we do communicate, share ideas, things like that. It's pretty cool there. I need to post a little bit more there as well. I'm just busy during the day, during the nights, and things like that. So I'm going to try to post a little bit more there as well on anything that I find interesting that I want to share with you guys there. So I do appreciate it also. Other than that, I do have to also do the screenshots for the YouTube members. That's going to be coming up. So there's quite a bit of things I need to get done still. But other than that, obviously today was a great day for Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. We'll see how long it holds, whether it's going to hold a couple more days or if we're going to be going down possibly the next day or two because, well, the news kind of fizzled out, unfortunately. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Hope to see you guys soon in the next one, and have a great night.